This is the Derrell Day Show.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination.
There's never been a better reason to wake up early. Derrell Day is on.
Welcome back to the show. It's about 6 minutes after the hour. 850-233-9988 is the number to call. Let's see. Stephanie Somerset. How are you doing, Stephanie?
I'm doing okay this morning, Derrell.
We both went to the meeting last night. How'd you find it? Very informative?
Well, I talked to several people who had attended so that they could give public input to the group there.
The state. Now we're talking. Let me bring everybody up, like everybody knew what we were talking about. St. Andrews State Park's 10-year management plan had a public. Wasn't even a forum. It was a thing. A brief. What was it called?
An open house.
An open house. Yeah. You could look at some pictures.
On the floor and talk with park representatives,
right,
but there was no forum to address the group.
Right. Certainly nothing on the record. All right. So
I don't know how they recorded people's comments, but the people I spoke with were very disappointed.
Well, it was once again about the same thing. I spoke with a young lady, nice young lady. By the way, the 50-foot thing, the 50-foot rule, now they want to say they want to extend their authority seaward to 50 feet, was not even addressed. And I told the lady, ma'am, 90% of the people in this audience are here for that reason. And you didn't even it was omitted from the presentation, yeah. So I just felt like I was having my hair tousled. It's so nice to see you.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You mentioned gaslighting on your show, too. Right. I feel like we're getting gaslighted.
I'm fully convinced that last night was an exercise in letting the public think they have input. This is all already decided. There was nobody there that was, gosh, I don't know. Let's see what the people say. I didn't get that at all.
I believe it was decided back in August when nobody from the advisory board asked for them to give themselves this authority into the water, and they proposed it as, quote, just an idea out of the blue, which nobody asked for. And next thing you know, they're basically telling us, oh, we had the authority all along. We're giving you a break by reducing it from 400 feet to 50 feet, which they never said before in 10 years of my discussions with them.
Well, why don't we just make a decision that we've decided to increase, as the public, our authority 50 feet inward? I mean, we have more power than they do, surely, wouldn't you think?
Well, unfortunately, Derrell, as listeners of your show have found out, the government has way too much authority, and now they're trying to give themselves more.
I prefaced my remarks to the young lady last night by saying, listen, I want you to understand, and I think I speak for maybe some perhaps that are here, that we love St. Andrews State Park. It's beautiful. We love Shell Island. We think you guys do a good job with what you've been doing. We appreciate you. This is not a us against you thing. We are simply very concerned over this 50-foot thing. And I finally got her to say, well, I said, look, you don't need 50 feet of authority to pick up trash. I pick up other people's trash all the time without special authority. I just pick it up. And to be able to monitor natural resources in 50 feet offshore, 18 inches of water? You can look over the side of your boat and see anything you need to see. And you can get out of your boat and you can wade and you can snorkel and you can take samples. You don't need authority to do that because a citizen doesn't need authority to do that. And she finally said, well, it's in case we need to put up warning signs out there in the water. I said, really? Warning signs? I said, warning, well, about what? Well, about areas of special concern. So now they're going to put signs in the water. How long will the warning sign how long will it be before that sign will give way to a prohibited sign? And I asked her, she said, we'll never mess with private property. I said, okay, fine. What about the water in front of it? They have riparian rights out in the water some distance, I would think. Is that going to be part of your 50-foot zone? To which she did come down and answer that.
That the idea of warning signs should send up a red flag in everybody's mind. You can see where this is going. And I tell you, the clause that concerns me the most is they want to have this authority, quote, for public safety. Well, that's a catch-all for just about anything they can tell you to do.
You sent me a letter. Some people, 4 residents, I believe, 4 or 5 residents, and they're all from here in Panama City, Is that a public letter?
Yes, I'm giving it to the advisory board today.
Can I share that? I mean, I'll leave the names out. I mean, I know it's going to letter that's going to eventually be a matter of public record, but I have not gotten the permission from the people who wrote it.
Yes, you can share their stories.
All right, but hang with me real quick, because this was a letter written, and I'm not going to name them, and I'm just because, just suffice it to say, they live here in Panama City. They are frequent visitors to Shell Island. And the letter is addressed to Gary Clark, who's the Deputy Secretary of the Florida Department of DEP. Dear Mr. Clark, we are writing you to alert you to an alarming activity on Shell Island and Panama City Beach that is lurid and unseemly and has angered countless citizens. We happen to be the ones of many who are willing and able to put this in writing to you. In 4 separate incidents, boaters and our families found ourselves the subjects of surveillance and photography by Audubon volunteers and or state park officials who are claiming to be studying shorebirds. Because all 4 families are members of the same organization, the Friends of Shell Island, we shared experiences and were able to realize that this was happening regularly to ourselves and is likely to continue this year. We have partnered together to let other boaters know about our experiences and express our displeasure at the intrusion into our privacy and recreation in one of the spots so many treasure for the relaxation and serenity it has historically offered. Then we get into some personal anecdotes. In June of 2015, one of the letter writers, who of us affirmed that this happened, was visiting Shell Island when I spotted a man standing on a sand dune with a high-powered telephoto lens trained on my boat for more than 10 minutes. I had visitors on my boat who were also disturbed by the invasion of their privacy, which appeared increasingly voyeuristic as it continued. When I called St. Andrews State Park Manager Danny Jones about the issue, Mr. Jones acknowledged that the actions were park-related, but did not give me any additional satisfactory answers, nor would he agree to halt the activities. Here's another anecdote. On Independence Day holiday weekend last year, while anchored on the bay side of Shell Island, I, and not going to say the name, noticed a young man and a woman, both in green state park-style uniforms with no insignias, facing towards the bay with a large telephoto lens and camera, surveilling and photographing multiple anchored boats. The 2 were inside the keep-out area that is roped off for bird protection, standing on top of a sand dune. When I approached them to ask what they were watching and photographing, they claimed they were bird watching. When I explained that I witnessed them taking pictures of boats and residents, they denied doing so. Here's another anecdote. I, blank, and my family were visiting Shell Island in the spring of 2015 with some guests. We anchored our boat and were walking across the Gulf when we witnessed a person on an ATV hidden in the sand dunes, clearly observing visitors. Approach other beachgoers and tell them they couldn't have their dog with them. The fellow on the ATV said that Tyndall Air Force Base had hired the Audubon Society to help them with the birds, clearly implying that he was there to spy on and engage with island visitors and enforce questionable rules. Here's another anecdote. Last summer, I, blank, and my girlfriend, my son, and his friend were enjoying ourselves at the water's edge on Shell Island, a little farther down from where many of the boats anchor on the bayside. I saw 2 people dressed in green Ranger-style uniforms up in the dunes with high-powered lens aimed at my family. They were clearly off the regular trails that we are asked to use. I approached them and saw that they were using photo or video equipment. I asked them to please stop filming the children in my family. Concerned about the use of these photographs in the social media these days, I also made it very clear that they do not have permission to use any photo or film with my children in it. They denied watching my family and said that instead they were documenting impacts to wildlife. They turned the lens away from my family and I left. About 10 minutes later, I saw an angry beachgoer in a heated argument with them. And it goes on and on. What's going on in Shell Island, I think, is inexcusable. The Audubon Society has partnered up with the state park and people in Kazakhstan to shutter our access to Shell Island. They're well-heeled, they're well-funded, and out of the 2,500, 2,700 signatures on the complaint, 35 are from Bay County, they're from all over the world via the Audubon Society, which I think is for the birds.
I was quoted in the paper saying this was an elaborate ruse, and that's part of it. So, Derrell, just to give your listeners background, the DEP awarded the Audubon Society a $1.3 million contract from BP oil money. They're out there studying birds across the Florida Panhandle, but they've singled out Shell Island as a place of special concern, and they're doing a study where they've got it rigged where they're going to blame boaters for disturbance of the birds. That's what's going on, and we've asked for them to halt the study because it's biased and flawed. And I'm taking a letter to the advisory board meeting and handing it out to everybody, explaining all of it.
Well, if has this letter that I just read, is it a matter of public record yet?
Yes, we sent it to Parks Director Donald Forgiani yesterday.
All right. Well, so would I have permission to post this on the Derrell Day Show Facebook page?
Absolutely.
Because it does name names, and I'm assuming that these citizens, because they allowed their names to be in this, and they've all signed the letter, that I have their permission. Would that be fair?
Yes. These citizens normally don't come forward like this, but they felt that to have their names on it would give it the most credibility.
All right. So where do we go from here? Well, I mean, what is I know it'd be silly to ask when's the next public forum because we haven't had a public forum yet. When are the decisions going to be made to do whatever it is they're going to do anyway?
They've told us that people have to give their input by March 30th, and then they're going to take this thing and slam it in.
Yeah.
So we're coming up with ways people can give that input, and we've got to put all that together, Derrell, and if you don't mind, we'll come back on and tell everybody. We
will be on this thing we'll hang in here like a hair in a biscuit, they say.
I'm going to tell them today. I know they're probably upset with me, but we're going to keep this up until they listen to the citizens and they treat us fairly.
Well, I'm not one of those people who are overly concerned about the government being upset with me because they're just getting me back. All right, thanks, Stephanie. I appreciate you being here with us. Now, look, here's the thing about Shell Island. Nobody wants Shell Island to be beat down into a flat thing. Mother Nature does it, but we all want to take care of it. We're not. This doesn't have to be an us and them, but it always seems to be. New rules, new regulations. We've taken more authority. Richard, how are you doing?
Good, Derrell. I just want to commend you on your interview with whoever that was you were talking to earlier. I've never heard of him.
Stephanie Somerset. She's a frequent visitor.
Before that.
You talking about the guest? Yeah, he's a writer for the Federalist.
Yeah, I just want to say, you did a great job with him. And I wish you'd have put in something. He said he was from New York City. Yeah. That they need to hold a Trump rally down south here, and it probably would have been an 80-year-old man that clogged that protester.
Richard, that guy sucker punched that young man. I'm not for.
Well, the young man got in his face.
He was walking past him. In the video I saw, the guy elbowed him in the face, and he shouldn't have done that. In my opinion,
the protester had probably given him previous reason, but that
may have. I don't know, but he sucker punched him, and I'm not. Usually that's typically establishment Republicans that sucker punch people.
Well, I just want to say I commend you for your standing up to him and holding up to him. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Richard. Let's go to Dayton. Dayton, are you there?
Yes.
Is this the inimitable Dayton?
Yeah, how you doing?
What's been going on?
Oh, not much. Hey, I got an idea for Bay County that really won't cost a whole lot of money, but every highway that you got that goes into Bay County says, "Welcome to Bay County." Mm-hmm. Now, just underneath that, they could put a big placard that says, "Now get your butt out of here." What in the world are they trying to do? That the Shell Island is a huge draw for this place. People come.
Dayton? It was.
Well, and then you've thrown everybody off the beach for an entire month out of the year. What in the world is going on down there? What are they expecting to replace? Are they hoping that people start smoking and start taxing cigarettes? Or what's going on down there?
Well, they already do. Now we're breaking trail down here. We're going where no man has ever gone before.
You're yanking the economy right out from under the feet of people that kind of need it. That it's not exactly like it's doing well.
Well, it's the spring break is certainly a two-sided issue, but
maybe
a bit too much.
If they could have got the thugs out of here, great. But now, you've run.
I think all we did was run the law-abiding kids away.
Yeah,
and now Grace Avenue. Grace Avenue is now spring break mecca. I'm serious. There's a club on Grace Avenue that's getting all the shootings and shots fired and all that.
So it's close to the hospital.
Well, it is. Now, see there. Now, by golly, now that's good thinking on behalf of the government. All right, Dayton, I've got to get out of here.
Have a great day.
I'll be right back. This is Derrell Day, Talk Radio 101. All right, welcome back to the show. It's 26 minutes after the hour. That sounds like a DJ on a music station, didn't it?
Hey, well, I'm your host, so.
Oh, there you go. All right, let's go to your calls. Patrick, how are you doing?
Hey, doing well, Darrell. I've been waiting for some time now to see exactly what was going to go on concerning Shell Island and the state park with government agencies. And I think a little over a year ago, we could kind of see the writing on the wall. Unfortunately, in the first meeting, rather than being able to kind of give them the opportunity to speak so we could garner some knowledge of really what they were up to, it was disrupted by people with all kind of wild theories and accusations on globalist stuff and all that.
I call them internet wizards.
Yeah, well, all that did was add to the detriment.
I agree.
It made the entire group of people look like there was a bunch of kooks. And instead of giving them a chance to speak and tending them rope, so to speak, so that we could actually find out what was going on in their heads and what was coming down from their bosses, we learned nothing. Now we see what they're up to now, clearly. The question is, what are the solutions to it? Now, I'm very interested in us having public input into it, which I'm sure is going to result in a pat in the head, and we're going to do what we're going to do anyway. Legally, I don't think we're going to be able to do a heck of a lot because this is loaded in government, and it's not just EPA and parks and all that. I think probably the Air Force is involved and way up the chain in governmental agencies. It may be a time for civil disobedience, as far as I'm concerned. In the form of what? I don't know. But if we just let it happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's thanks, Patrick. We get pushed into these us against them scenarios, and nobody wants that. But by the same token, nobody's going to sit by and allow it to just overtake you. Well, that's not much of a cause to get civilly disobedient over. Well, what is the good cause? What is the good cause? Donald Trump said that if the GOP establishment snookers the Republican the Republican convention and comes up with a Paul Ryan or a Mitt Romney, that the people are going to riot. Well, maybe it's time for the people to riot. Maybe it's time. My concern is this from history. I noticed that when Americans push back against the government, it's not a peaceful rally. It gets nasty. And I'll be right back. This is Derrell Day. All right, welcome back to the show. You know who we have not heard from? I'm telling you that I'm going to fire this guy. I am really getting tired of his insubordination, his general uppityness.
He doesn't even, try to remind you or, warn you.
We're talking about the chief. He's supposed to give us hourly reports, eyewitness weather reports.
I don't think I can blame him for sleeping in today.
Why is that?
Well, look at it outside. I'm going to have to do it for him.
Did you sleep in?
I didn't know. I can't sleep in.
Why is that? Because you have what? You have a...
I have responsibilities.
What it's called? I
like to call it obligation.
It's called a job.
Yeah, but, we have fun with this. You can't really...
All right. Well, no, I don't care. You
got
a job, you got a job.
Enjoy life.
All right. Since he won't
enjoy life.
Would you look out the window and give us an eyewitness weather report?
I'm 82.7% chance sure that it's going to rain in a couple of hours.
Okay. Anything else?
Pretty cloudy out there.
Pretty cloudy out there.
The temperature is 70.4 degrees.
All right. Well, okay. Okay, fine. Who cares? So you got any idea what's going to happen this weekend? I think it's going to rain Saturday, isn't it?
It looks like I'm pretty sure it's just going to rain.
I need to change the rotors out on my truck. And
for the rain?
Yeah, for the rain. No, but I'm not going to be able to do it because I can't. It's going to be raining. I try to do as much work on my vehicles as I can. I think a man, and a woman should be able to do. That's not real rocket science. Usually, I mean, you're messing with your brakes, so you'll find out that getting a truck to go is important. If you've ever been in a truck that won't stop, you'll quickly realize that getting one to go pales in comparison with having the ability to get one to stop. You ever had a trailer on the back of your truck that was really, really super heavy?
Oh, yeah.
And you pull up to a stop sign, and all of a sudden, what you thought you were in control, but the trailer behind you has got other thoughts. That's a bad feeling. Real bad feeling. All right. And what may be, I'm sure liberals and progressives are going to cause a stink of Earl. How you doing, Earl?
Hey, Derrell, morning.
What's up?
You just said an absolute truth.
I what?
You just stated an absolute truth.
What was that?
That when a man works on the brakes on his truck, the woman's going to tell him he ain't doing it right. Didn't you say that?
No.
You want man or woman working on the truck?
No, Earl, you're not going to pin that on me this morning. I did not say that. Trust me, I'm the one that'll get the letters. What do you mean? That's about what my letters will say.
Well, it's like, if you're married.
Not married, Earl. Not married.
Okay, not married. I said, but if a man is married,
okay,
does it or does it not take him a long time to admit that he needs to ask directions and how to drive somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A smart man will wise up fairly quickly that you'd best shut up and be quiet.
All right. Well, that's the same way with brakes.
Mm-hmm.
If a man's out there working brakes on his truck, because I have experienced this,
mm-hmm.
a woman that he has been familiar with and his better half is definitely going to be there to direct him and tell him he's not doing it right.
Well, that could be the case.
Now, let me ask something about Shell Island real quick.
All right.
On the serious side.
All right.
My question is this: on that 50-foot limit,
mm-hmm.
does that pertain strictly to Shell Island, or does it say and or all navigable waters?
No, that's just to the part that the state park would have, as far as I know, under their jurisdiction, which I guess could be at anything the state park wants, because they're the ones they're the one that's magically anointed themselves the alleged 400 feet. That they came to us and said, well, look, wow, how nice we are. We're only going to do it out to 50 feet. Like they had the authority to do the 50 feet.
Yes, so what I was looking at is all these other state parks here in Florida that have a river or a creek flowing through them.
Yeah.
So if they get this at Shell Island, would all of these other state parks necessarily be suddenly, by chance, like with the seatbelt law, included in the 50-foot rule?
Earl, I can't answer that question, but I'm glad you asked that question because there was something I reported on about 2 years ago that I had forgotten about completely that had to do with the Environmental Protection Agency being able to claim land up on the banks. And I can't remember what it was, but it involved a lot of land that would, like, if someone would have a home on the river, Apalachicola River, Choctawhatchee, and have a little seawall, that the EPA actually was going to claim jurisdiction over their land up to some point, and I can't remember what it was, some flood zone line, some cockamamie out of the blue, assumptive presumptive power thing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to have to look that up because it was very important, which means I forgot about it after a while.
Well,
but I'm glad you brought it up.
That's curiosity I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Are they somehow coming in sideways to get the to get something else passed that we don't necessarily see?
Well, they're governments. Of course they are.
Yes, sir.
That's what governments do. That's the reason Thomas Jefferson said, let's speak no more of the character of man, but let's bind him with the chains of a constitution. Look, the state park, nice people. We love the state park. We're not. We don't want to be an us and them thing. It's a beautiful place, and it requires some watching over. No question about that.
No question whatsoever.
But Shell Island, a little bit different, and they're dealing with a citizenry who has gotten very raw about government intrusion because we catch it all the time. Ever since we caught Tyndall Air Force Base trying to sneak one in on us, we've been super vigilant about it.
Yes, sir.
As we should have been.
Because
if you don't catch them,
our founding father said, be vigilant.
Guard jealously those freedoms and liberties that you have. And we found out once again that we have to go. Our job is not over at the end of an 8-hour day or a 10-hour day or a 12-hour day that you and I work to keep funding this big monstrous government. But we also have to spend our spare time attending meetings, getting on the internet, and finding out what little ways they are trying to worm their way into our lives more and more, because that's what they do. Look, that's what governments do. You can like it, you can lump it, but they do some good. Trust me, the good that they do is wiped out regularly by the crap they pull.
May I leave you with some famous words I found at Little Johnny Robinson's lighthouse?
Oh, may you ever.
Do not try to play the 12-string blues on a 3-string fiddle.
Okay. All right. Don't attempt to play 12-string blues on a 3-string fiddle. Have you ever played 12-string there, Producer Josh? You're a guitar player.
Yes, I have.
I hate them.
They're all right. I mean, you can only do whole chords. There's no picking.
Well,
that's difficult.
No, now you need to listen to 8 Miles High by the Yardbirds if you don't think you can play lead guitar on a 12-string.
Well, I mean, just trying to pick a string in general.
It is hard to do, yes. And here's 12-string guitars are really handy if you have a professional 12-string guitar tuner. Tune it, hand it to you, you play it, hand it back to them to retune it. And if you've got someone like when you play tennis, professionals, they have these kids that go there and run down the tennis balls. Well, if you've got somebody that'll tune that 12-string, I have a good friend that plays 12-string. Tom Collins plays it. He's very well.
I have to take. We used to have to take ours to get tuned.
Oh, never buy an instrument